Top 10 Summer Fragrances for Men 2024.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 summer fragrances that you can grab in 2024. I also do this content on all of my other social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, AROMATIX_Neeb, and AROMATIX Extras. So if you want to catch a bunch of different content regarding these fragrances and more, you know where to find me. An honorable mention before we get started is going to be this fragrance that I think is underrated, underappreciated, but smells really good. It's more than just the summertime. It actually shines in the spring and in the fall time as well. Maybe not the best for later fall, but in the beginning of fall, smells fantastic. This is Polo Red Parfum. This has absinthe, a little bit of blood orange, aromatics, and I think it's underrated. It lasts for me like up to 8 hours, smells amazing. Polo's got some great fragrances that they just don't really see the light of day, and a lot of them do perform actually, believe it or not. The Polo Blue Parfum is also one that performs for me up to 8 hours. It smells amazing. With the honorable mention out of the way, let's move on to the actual list. The order of this list is not anything specific, but starting off this list is going to be this bad boy that reminds me of every hotel in the East, basically, and in France and in a lot of places. This is called Terre d'Hermès, but we're talking about the Eau Intense Vetiver. Yes, although it does have an intense note of vetiver, it still keeps things relatively fresh, and I find it refreshing regardless of the fact. So although the original might be a little bit lighter to wear, I love the intensity and the pungency of the green nature of this fragrance. I wouldn't necessarily call it a pungent fragrance, but it's just very green in nature. It really stands out. I think it smells like $1 million. It smells very clean, sophisticated, and also it smells expensive. Even though it is relatively expensive, for under $200 though, it smells really, really good. You do have to enjoy green notes though, and vetiver wasn't really a favorite of mine up until recently, maybe about 5-6 months ago. With all of my travels, etc., I started to really fall in love, and this is one that I'm absolutely in love with. The next one on this list is going to be something more affordable, although still a signature in my collection and should be in a lot of your collections. Versace Pome. I don't even know where the cap is anymore, but this is one of the best aquatic, fresh fragrances that any man could have in their collection, and it honestly lasts about 6-7 hours. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the longevity of this if you spray it appropriately. Don't spray this less than 6 times, gentlemen. Give yourself some time before you go out, or give yourself some time before the application, but with that, it lasts for me all day. Fresh, cooling, refreshing at the same time as well. This is something that's a versatile magnet. I mean, honestly, versatile king, I should say. Doesn't necessarily get the most compliments. You're likely to get more compliments with the vetiver, but you can still rock this in a multitude of seasons, etc. If you're a guy that likes freshies even during the winter, sure, knock yourself out, and more so for like the office or indoors. But aside from that, it's still a great fragrance. Why can't you wear this to a date? Smells clean, smells fresh, you absolutely can. This one, although it smells really good, clean and fresh, I wouldn't wear it to a date other than during the summertime because it's just gonna seem a little bit weird. Citruses and woods during a fall or winter date. Fall dates actually would work. This is one that you can carry into every season but the winter as well. So that's what I have to say about this one. The performance is average. I would say average. Performance of this lasts all freaking day for me. 9 to 10 hours. Smells amazing. Moving on to number 3. This is another one about vetiver, but it has white florals, specifically jasmine. So if you want to take something like this and kind of unisex it out and modernize it a little bit more, you would do it with Vetiver Sensuel. There's a hefty dose of jasmine here, gentlemen. So it just basically coats or kind of, you know, takes off that camphorous vibe of the vetiver, the very strong, slightly astringent and crisp nature of that green or dry brittle style grass and twigs, and envelops it in that natural fatty and thick white floral accord, which smells a little bit like honeysuckle vibes. So that's kind of what it does. Makes it smell like $1 million though. Extremely refined. The projection on this is really good as well, but the performance, I would say about 6 to 7 hours. Still beautiful. Easier to dress up a little bit more so than this one because it has a softer vibe to it, kind of exuding a bit more of a sophistication, while this one is a bit more on the masculine side of things and still being sophisticated. So occasions for this, honestly, any freaking day, but also dressed up. That's the beauty about Vetiver Sensuel. I think it's one of the best from Manera for me during the summertime. And surprisingly enough, this next one is also going to be from Manera. It's one that I've beaten the hell out of, and that's the case with most of these that you're going to see. They're fragrances that I just absolutely cannot live without for the summertime. This is called Instant Crush as well. Although this one you can get away with for more than just the spring and summer, I think you can even get away with during the fall. It will shine the best during the summertime for me. It's got amber woods, it's got a lot of ginger and fruits. It kind of smells or reminds me of two territory or family of fragrances, something like Baccarat meets, you know, Herba Pura vibes, but it smells amazing. It honestly smells better than those combinations or those fragrances on their own. And although it does have significant differences, it's just gonna place you maybe in a slight vibe of that. Much more natural smelling than that spun sugar style DNA, and for that reason, I'll always have one of these in my collection. This is one that I waited for a long time to pick up. I just wasn't happy with the descriptors out there, or I just didn't know if I was going to enjoy it, but man, I was missing out for sure on Instant Crush. It smells amazing. Moving on to the next one is one that I was missing out on for about 7 months after its release. There was quite a bit of hype around this fragrance, and I honestly really wanted it because I like tonic water style fragrances that are effervescent. They smell a little bit carbonated, and that's kind of what this one does, and it's a little bit aromatic as well. It's called Jin Tonik by Mikf. This is a great fragrance, gentlemen. It has that tonic water style DNA with some aromatics. So if you think of herbs, etc., it has that also. Very cooling, crisp, refreshing. I love this fragrance, honestly. It has to be one of the top from Mikf for me, personally. I think Desert Toxique would be like 1 or 2, and this one would also, it's between them two, man. Absolutely love Jin Tonik for the summertime. Very crisp, cooling, and refreshing, and you could even get away with that during the spring, and I wouldn't necessarily say the fall time, but a great one. Moving on to the next one. This is great. Roja drops a bunch of bangers, and this is nothing other than that. It's called Oceania, a banger of a fragrance that'll absolutely remind you of this oceanic vibe with a lot more than just that. Like many of their other fragrances, it's a lot of aromatics, etc. It smells amazing. You guys, this isn't one that I feel like gets enough attention. Initial Blast is this crisp, beautiful lemon lime style citrus combination that dries down into something much more aromatic. It lasts pretty much 8 to 9 hours. It's in the vein, if you like Elysium, you'll likely enjoy this one as well. It's not as aromatic, a little bit more oceanic. And when I see oceanic, I start to worry, or aquatic, I start to worry if it's going to go salty on my skin, etc. But this absolutely has nothing salty, at least on my skin personally. I love this fragrance, and Isola Blue is going to be one that I wanted to place on this list, but I haven't picked it up yet. Elysium is great, and it does deserve to be on a top list, but for this one specifically, and especially for the summertime, I find this one to wear a little bit easier. It's lighter, it's not as aromatic as Elysium. And since we're talking about Roja, this is another banger that's a hefty price tag, but you can smell the quality in this one. I'll always recommend this one because it smells like a wine cooler, and I love the way this one smells. Roja's Burlington 1819 has to be one of my favorite vibe fragrances for vacations, man. That's what that thing is. It's a vibe. It smells like $1,000,000, slightly minty, and I mean, dude, that is such a great fragrance. It comes with a hefty price tag, but you get what you pay for with this fragrance, man. It lasts pretty much 8 hours, I would say, maybe 7, 8 hours, but is gorgeous. It smells like money. Moving on to the next one that also smells like money, is a little bit underrated. The performance isn't the best thing in the world, about 5 to 6 hours, but still smells amazing. It's called Mandarino Di Amalfi by Tom Ford. One of my favorite from Tom Ford, and in fact, it's better to me than Neroli Portofino. Reason being is because whenever I think high summer heat, I think of things that are cooling, refreshing, light, and wear pretty easily. With Neroli Portofino, it's relatively indolic, so it's fatty. The Neroli's pretty hefty. The green nature of the Neroli in that fragrance can come off a little bit metallic and headache-inducing for me personally. The green nature in Vetiver doesn't necessarily do the same thing, and I don't know if it's just because of the synthetic undertones or just the synthetic vibe of the Neroli, but this one doesn't do that. This is fresh, it's crisp, it's something else. A beautiful fragrance. A little bit acidic, but not salty. It smells like you're on literally the coast, man. It smells amazing, like you're in Greece or something, or the Amalfi Coast, basically. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is called Erba Gold. Yeah, I definitely think this is better than Erba Pura. And in fact, it's one of the best fruity fragrances you can get your hands on in the market in 2024. If you want just straight up a bowl of cut fruits, that's not synthetic, that's not screechy. Although Erba Pura, a lot of people love it, and I can see the attraction. For me personally, I can't wear that fragrance. It's too feminine. This one refines it a bit, makes it easier to wear, and absolutely more unisex. Erba Pura is not bad, but I can smell it mostly on women. Last but not least is a great release from PDM, and yeah, that's exactly what I think of it. A great release. A lot of lemon citrus, ambroxan, and vetiver. Simple, but done in such an excellent high quality fashion. It's called Perseus. Perseus smells in the air like $1,000,000. One of the highest projecting citrus and vetiver combinations, and I absolutely love it. I do think that the scent profile or the DNA is relatively simple, but there's a beauty in its simplicity and the way that it's executed. The execution is phenomenal. The DNA is relatively simple, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and some of my most complimented fragrances are in fact from PDM, genuinely. And these 10 are the best men's summer fragrances of 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and until the next one, peace.